Have you thought of what animal you'd like to be if you end up alone?
Yes, a lobster.
A lobster is an excellent choice.
I had seen Yorgos's work, I'd seen Dogtooth and Alps, and I remember coming out of the cinema in Philadelphia, seeing Dogtooth maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and just going, what the fuck did I just see? And it was so brilliant and so affecting and so disturbing, and so when I heard he was making his first English language film, I was just really intrigued to see would there be any, how would his cinematic language translate, but of course I don't think there's any difference. The sensibility and the tone of the film lives within a similar world to his previous work, even if the context of the story and the dynamics of the characters are different. But it was just, as you said, it was just really unique and extraordinary, and as absurd as it is at times, the film, and as violent as it can be at times or disturbing, I found it kind of really moving when I read the script by the end. You know, there's such a degree of simplicity, and this kind of aching loneliness for me in reading the script pervaded the whole thing.
Now, the fact that you'll turn into an animal if you fail to fall in love with someone during your stay here is not something that should upset you or get you down.
But as I said, for me, I think sometimes the things that maybe we overcomplicate love at times, because we have these great ideals of romance, which I love romance, but we can overcomplicate love, and I think at times loneliness is hard. You know, that's the one thing when I read the script, I just thought it kind of ached with this loneliness, you know.
I think if you showed this movie you went in a time machine and showed it to people in the 1950s, it would probably be very relevant to them too. This idea of being forced to, you know, to fit into society's roles in terms of relationships. Most movies I do tend to be one group of people from one country, you know, to see this kind of United Nations of actors all living together in this isolated place in the middle of nowhere. Was really cool.
It was a bit funky staying in the hotel, you were smart, he got a house, and he'd come up to the bar in the hotel, but it was a bit funky staying in the same hotel that we were shooting on. It was just a bit claustrophobic. You'd say goodbye to people at the end of a long day's work, see you tomorrow, and then you'd go up to your room, come back down, and you'd see, you know, it was just a bit strange, and there was cables everywhere, and the hotel was open for business as well, so there was all sorts of punters that were there with their families, and it was funky, but funky great.